In this tutorial, I'm going to share with you a handful of websites that I love to use that has some awesome font pairing tools and/or inspiration on them. So let's start with one of my favorites, Canva. Now, I love using Canva for graphic design. They also have a font combination tool. So if you go to canva.com/font-combinations, you will be greeted by this page. Now, right here where it says select a starter font, go ahead and click on this. We can click on anything. You can scroll through the list. I'm just going to do something pretty simple. Let's see. Let's kind of scroll down. We'll do the comic. And as you can see, it brings up what it suggests as a great pairing font. So here's the comic listed. Here's the quicksand. And it shows you a great overview of what they look like. So let's say you want to do another search. Go ahead and click back on Font Combinations at the top left-hand corner and select another font from the menu. Let's say you want to do Fanwood. See? It brings up the different options that you have. You have Nimbus Sans and you have Fanwood. And it kind of gives you like a little overview of what it would look like. Let's do another one. Go ahead and click on Font Combinations again. Scroll through the list, see if you have something basic you want to pair with. Okay, there's Merryweather. Okay, so it brings up the Merryweather and the Brandon Grotesque. And you can obviously see right here, it gives kind of an example. Obviously, I love using the Canva font combination tool because it is so simple and so easy to use. Very, very basic. Now let's go to another one that I love. This one's actually kind of fun. It's called Type Connection, and they set it up in the form of a dating game with typography, which is pretty cool. So if you go ahead and you'll be greeted with this big button right here that says play. Go ahead and click on play. Now you're going to play the dating game and match font together. So you can go ahead, hover over it. It gives you a little information about the different kinds, why they're important, kind of some of their best skills, I guess you could say, their best uses. Just go ahead, click on any one that you want. We'll go ahead and click this one. You can choose a strategy for finding the match. So you can rely on family. It gives you little notes to the side, which is kind of fun. You can embrace the other, act boldly, or explore the past. We'll go ahead and explore the past. You can preview the bios that's left. We'll just click on one. And now it brings up your little match right here. So it says head over heart, evaluate, and it gives some information on these two different font choices. If you go ahead and click on these little teeny circles, it gives you information about it. It says geometric forms. Gives a bunch of different information that you can read, which is kind of fun, kind of interesting. Gives you a little bit more examples if you scroll down. Okay, so let's go ahead and send them on a date. Look what happens. It says re-evaluate your options, maybe not. So it says maybe these might not match. You can go ahead and play again. Or you could try to send them with someone else. Let's try this one. Kind of brings up the same thing. You can kind of look through it, see if they match together or not. Send them on a date. And it says, congratulations, you've made a successful match. And it tells you why the pairing works well together. Gives you some information about the happy couple right here, which is kind of fun. If you decide you don't want to use those together, obviously you can go ahead and play again, or you can use Archer and Bryant as your typography. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so this is fontpair.co. Now this one is kind of simple. It has some basic fonts in here and you can just kind of start searching Let's go ahead and start with Oswald. Let it populate. If you scroll down, it gives you some of the different great pairing fonts with it. It shows what it's best used for, the heading, the other font that should be used for the body. You can obviously download the font pair together. Go up, you could do another search. Let's go ahead and do Merriweather. As you see, it populated this. Gives a few matches, tells you how to use it. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, but it's a great way if you're not used to pairing fonts. It kind of gives you some direction. Okay, let's go to another website. This is kind of a fun site. It's called fontsinuse.com. And you can literally just kind of scroll through here for inspiration. It shows you where the different fonts are used. It gives the contribution to whoever it's being used by, which is kind of cool. And it shows you the fonts that are being paired together. So you can obviously go ahead and click into one. And it gives you information about it. It pulls up the graphic a little bit larger. You can kind of see how it could be used. So this is a great site if you're just looking for inspiration and want to kind of brainstorm some ideas of what to pair together. Okay, let's go to another site. Now this is type.io. This one is best used if you just go ahead and start searching. So it says the pro tip, if you already have a font and you're trying to find its pair, start by searching for it. Okay, let's just try something simple and go ahead and enter. Okay, once it brings up your font, go ahead and click on it. And it gives you kind of a list of the different font that it pairs well with. It also tells you a little bit about how people commonly tag it and use it and where you can get the font from. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. You can either try another one. You can even look through their list or their inspiration if you desire to do it that way. So you can kind of scroll through different fonts for headers and content. It gives a bunch of suggestions. This talks about Squarespace, if you use Squarespace. I'm a WordPress girl myself. So you can kind of look through this and just get a little bit of details, kind of brainstorm for things. It's a great site to visit to try to do some basic pairing. Okay, let's go to another site that is fun to play with. This one is known as the Blender. Now, when you visit this site, you will be greeted with these click me arrows that's kind of pointing to your text. If you click on it, like the first one, you'll see that different font options will appear to the left. So you can kind of scroll through these, and it's pretty much just a way for you to get a preview of what your font would look like. So you can play with the different font choices that there are. If you go up here, you can play with the sizing. Let's say you want to enlarge it by quite a bit. You want to increase the line height. You could do pretty much whatever you want just to kind of get the preview. If you want to go ahead and work on the next section, you do the same. Just click on the text. You could go through these. Obviously, these aren't fonts I'm trying to pair. I'm just showing you the basics. You can change your font size, your line height, and the same with the content area. Go ahead and make your changes. Find something you love. Play with your font size and line height. Once you are done, if you are familiar with coding, if you click at the top, you can go ahead and grab the code for this one, which is pretty awesome. So it gives the link, and it also gives the CSS. So that's kind of a fun one to play with. Okay, let's go to another site. This one's pretty much the same. This is called the Font Combinator. If you click on it, your options will appear below. You can choose whether you want it. If it's a headline, you can just go ahead and leave it. You can choose your font. This one may take a little while to load. If you have problems, you can just kind of scroll through them. You can also change the sizing and the line height. You can even change the color, which is kind of cool. So you can play through this option. And it will give you kind of preview of what this will look like, which is always kind of fun. Okay, let's go visit another site. This is a fun site to play with. It's pretty much drag and drop, which is pretty cool. So if you look to the right-hand side, you will see your font. Go ahead and pick one and drag and drop it into place. And your font will change. And then you can even change the sizing, playing with the slider at the top. Okay, let's find another one. We'll drop into place. Pretty much just drag and drop. Like I said, you could play with your sizing if you desire. Okay, let's do one more. Something simple, drag and drop. Like I said, you can play with sizing again to kind of give you an idea of what looks good together. Let's go to another site that I like to use. Typekit is a great site if you are just looking for some inspiration and you need to brainstorm through some font. Go ahead and just kind of look through it. You can discover fonts by Foundry. You can look through their font families. And you can see if you just go ahead and click on one, it'll pull up a little tool here that you can look through. You can play with the font sizing to see what it looks like when you change the size. Gives you a little bit of detail about it, how to use it. It gives you a little bit of information how to use it with the following CSS code. So it's a great one just to kind of go through, look for inspiration, read a little bit more about the different kind of font choices there are. Okay, let's go to another site. This one is called Fontspring, and it has the maturator, which allows you to upload an image and it tries to cipher out what the font is. Now, it's not always 100%, but at least it helps you narrow in if you find something that you really like. So go ahead and click on Upload Image. Let's find something in here that I've been using. Select your image. Once it is uploaded, you will need to crop it so it can really narrow in on the font. Okay, once you are done, click on the Maturate It button. It will give you a little more information if you want to start over or if you want to continue. Right beneath it, it is matching your image. And then you can see it will give you a list of what they think it might be. So you can browse through some of these and see if there's any one that looks close to what you like or what you were using. Like I said, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but it can kind of help you narrow in on font choices. Okay, let's go to one more site. This one is Typespiration, and you pretty much look through this and just get some inspiration. You can brainstorm again. So if you scroll down through the site, and let's say you find something that you really like, even the color, it will give you some information on that. So let's say you like this one. Go ahead and hover and click. it will pull it up. And you can kind of scroll through, check it out. Gives you a preview. You can go ahead and click on fonts and colors. Gives you the color codes, which is pretty cool. Shows you the fonts that are being used. And if you want to select the quick use and you're familiar with coding, it gives you a little bit of information right here. So you can go ahead and take that code and run with it. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. Okay, let's say you like this, the appointment. Okay, pretty much the same thing. It gives you the preview. You click on the fonts and colors. There's your hex color codes. And then it tells you about the font being used. And of course, if you want the quick use and you're familiar with coding, here's some simple code that you can go ahead and insert. Or if you scroll down, it gives you more suggestions. So these are the different tools that you can use when you're trying to pair font. I know it's difficult when you're at the beginning of doing anything with web design, or if you're just creating your own blog or your own website for your business. This is a great way to get you started in the right direction, so the font will look great together on your website.